Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Wednesday, June 26th. On the impact map, a lot going on. We have continued widespread lightning, wetter on the eastern side, but drier as you go further to the west. That is the big concern. We had quite a bit of lightning in the last 24 hours. Another concern today, we have strong winds, 35 to 45 miles per hour with drier air moving into parts of northwestern Nevada and far southwest Idaho. That wind threat expands a bit tomorrow, maybe weaker in some areas. At the same time, we're looking at this critical fuels area, and this is just a rough estimate. There are some drier islands, but south and west of this line is where our fuels are most likely to ignite and burn, but still have concerns further north. Again, drier lightning to the north, wetter further to the south and east, and we tend to dry things out as we go on into Friday, most of the storms pushing to the far east. Looking at the last 24 hours, let's look at the lightning first. Widespread across much of western and central Nevada, and even a bigger burst of somewhat wetter storms further south and east. You can see the precipitation on the left-hand side. Lots of new starts so far, and this is unfortunately probably the beginning. As the sun comes up and the heat builds and drier air pushes in along with winds, we are likely to see more ignitions and fires. And part of the big problem is how dry it has been, not just for the past 7 days across much of the western half or 2/3 of the geographic area, but for the past 2 weeks, most areas in our region have seen very little rainfall, with the exception of far eastern or southeastern Utah. That's where the ERCs have moderated, but you can see where they've become much more critical in the 80th and 90th percentiles, in the reds and dark reds and some oranges. Big concern up here, we've been drying out quite a bit in eastern Idaho and western Wyoming. Some of the heavy fuels not quite there, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. The 100-hour fuels, very dry. This golden area covering about 3/4 of our region indicates mid to upper single-digit 100-hour fuels. Another issue is what's going on with the lightning and the drier air. First of all, this deep low pressure area responsible for some of the lightning production, also bringing stronger winds, and we see the cloud cover here pushing out. We see drier air pushing in behind it. That's going to be the big issue. We see that on the weather map later this afternoon. There's the drier air pushing in with the strong upper level winds. That's why we have high risk for winds in a lot of those areas that received quite a bit of lightning. Also expecting some of that lightning on the drier side in far southwest Idaho. We've issued high risk for lightning there. Let's look at the winds here. It's quite strong. Those areas in purple are gusts approaching 40 or even the low 40s. The humidity, not bone dry, but still lots of teens around. And the precipitation, a lot of the convection and thunderstorms pushes further east, but some of these grayish areas are areas where we're expecting to see thunderstorms, but not much rainfall. That's where we could see new ignitions starting. And then tomorrow, drier air pushes in, given by that tannish shade. The upper level winds are pretty strong at the base of this trough. We have high risk for wind in quite a few areas for tomorrow. We see the wind field pushing further east. We see the humidity starting to really dry out across Nevada and even up into the Snake River Plain, and starting to dry out pretty much everywhere. On Friday, we see a bigger push of drier air. The winds, good news, start to diminish. You can see the 7-day on the right. You see the light winds, other than in our more moist conditions areas further south and east, but humidity drying out. 3-day precipitation. And looking down the road, on Saturday, another trough of low pressure, unseasonably strong and south for this time of year, starting to push in. The breezes will start to increase. And let me just go backwards here. You notice the tail end of this front. There could be some isolated thunderstorms and lightning with this system as it pushes eastwards across parts of Idaho. We'll see how the fuels match up. But one thing we're quite certain is the winds will start to really increase along with the dry air across parts of Nevada into parts of Utah. That is where we've issued high risk once again. These will be areas that did receive some lightning recently, so holdovers could be an issue. Also, it's the weekend. And then Monday, drier air. Pacific ridge of high pressure starts building in, so we'll get warm and dry and back to above normal temperatures by Tuesday. 7-day precip, and the 8 to 14 day shows mostly above normal temperatures, a little cooler to the far north with those troughs of low pressure. Overall, drier than normal for parts of our area. There is the possibility of monsoon swinging back in late in the period. That concludes our briefing. Have a great day.